Words that I say, downtown the lights out, but we choose to stay. I don't know where this may go. These strangers know all the words at my shows. I tell, she loving our style. Shit makes her face red whenever I smile. I lay down, takes off her clothes. Wake up, I leave for the door. Tell myself I don't need a drink. I got champagne iced in the sink. They keep calling me for the link. Music's there, but damn, still I think I need you. Words that I say, East Coast to West Coast, we rhyming all day. I really do mean what I say. New York City to LA, got me feeling like, oh no, we about to blow. We just lay down 6 hit songs in a row. You've been told it's time you should.
Or now we're going to start with fats. So this is going to be part of a series that I'm starting for you guys. For more fitness industry related stuff, I definitely want a goal of my channel to be to give back to you guys, and I want to spread a whole bunch of knowledge that I've learned from not only experience but also my collegiate career. So today we are going to start with the topic of macronutrients, and the first macronutrient we're going to focus on is fats. So I know a lot of people in the fitness industry, lifestyle, whatever, they think fats are bad. Like, fats are extremely good for you, just in the right amount, and obviously you have to know the right foods that are good for you. So, in regards to fats, we're going to start with why you need them in your diet. So, you need them for energy. Fats provide a lot of energy, which I think that is something that is definitely not looked at very often. Carbs are not the only source of energy. And then we also have the fact that they provide essential fatty acids. So what are essential fatty acids? They're omega-3s and omega-6s, which I know you've all heard of omega-3s, that's in fish oil. And omega-6s are just a different chain of that. And then for fat-soluble vitamins. So essential fats or fats in your diet provide vitamins that your body needs in order to function properly and provide more energy. I want to move into, I guess, the main forms of fat that I know a lot of people have heard of. So we have unsaturated fats and saturated fats, and we have monosaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, and we also have trans fats. So starting with the unsaturated and saturated, I'm going to pair them together because they are fairly similar when you're looking at them scientifically. So in regards to how fats are laid out in general, I want to kind of start with the fact that they are a carbon chain. So you have a line of carbons, and these carbons have hydrogens attached to them there. And depending on the form of fat, there may be, I want to say, chemically modified hydrogens that are attached to these carbon bonds. And the more of those hydrogens that are chemically added, that's what makes the fat bad. So when you're starting with unsaturated fats and saturated fats, that is one of the lower forms. So you won't really have anything chemically added. Obviously, it depends on the food. It depends on what you're eating. You do have to pay attention to that stuff. But for the most part, when we're talking unsaturated and saturated fats, you do not have much chemical action going on there, if you want to go with that. So an example of unsaturated and unsaturated fat is for example, coconut oil. An example of a saturated fat is bacon fat. So at room temperature, you'll notice when you're done cooking the bacon, there's like this nasty white stuff. That's the fat, so that's not so good. Bad one. And when you're thinking coconut oil, at room temperature, it starts to become a liquid. So coconut oil isn't good, it isn't bad for you. It definitely is good in moderation. So that's not something you'd want to avoid. And more examples of saturated fats are saturated fats in particular, remember, not unsaturated. So more examples of saturated fats that are good for you would be palm oil, also in moderation, be careful with that, and olive oil. So now I want to move into monosaturated and polysaturated. So those two are kind of paired one and the same because they can balance each other out. When it comes to these two fats, you don't really want to have more of one than the other one. So They both provide the essential fatty acids I was talking about earlier, the omega-3s and the omega-6s. Poly are higher in omega-6s, so this is why you have to be careful with these two. So monounsaturated fats are considered one of the best fats for you. Keep that in mind. But with the omega-3s and the omega-6s, you want to have a good ratio going on there. So you always want to kind of have a balanced out ratio, and a lot of people don't realize that generally there's definitely more omega-3s than there are omega-6s, or vice versa in their diet. So they want to go hand in hand. With omega-3s and omega-6s, you can get those fats from walnuts, from fish, from peanut oil or sunflower oil. Those oils, whether you've heard they were good, they were bad, moderation is key. So these are all going to be keys in your diet to balance everything out properly. Just pay attention. That is the key thing. People think that they can just, you know, go ahead and just see what they want, and you have to pay attention. I have to block that out. That's kind of dumb. That's kind of off topic there. The last fat that we want to talk about is trans fats. So, trans fats, they're bad. They're very, 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 very bad. And you don't want them in your diet at all. You just don't. I mean, it happens. They slip in there. You know, if you have a treat meal or you have a few donuts, they're there. It happens, you know, whatever. But for the most part, they should not be included in your daily diet. And guess what, guys? They're hidden in a lot of stuff. So with trans fats, this is where you're going to find the most chemically added hydrogens. So you just throw a whole bunch of hydrogens on that carbon chain, and they're like, bam, we're just going to chemically make this fat. It's legitimately not even from any type of natural food source whatsoever. It is completely chemically made. So some examples of trans fats are any type of margarine, any type, a stick, a tub, whatever, that's full of freaking trans fats. It's hidden in all types of snack foods that you see on the shelves. And the extremely tricky thing about this is that trans fats don't even have to be listed on the label. If it is under half of a gram, they don't have to list it at all. So if you're looking at a label and it says 0 grams of trans fat, most likely there are trans fats in it. And you want to know how you tell that? Well, look at the ingredients. So the ingredients will say partially hydrogenated oils, fully hydrogenated oils. Anything hydrogenated is not good. I don't care if it's coconut oil. I don't care if it's olive oil. It's not good. It's bad. It's very, very bad. So key point to take away here, guys, is that trans fats, you just don't want them in your diet for performance. Obviously, they're going to slip in there. It's going to happen. They're in everything. They're hidden. That's what they want you to, that's what they want. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know any better. This is why you have to pay attention, guys. You have to pay attention to stuff like that. A lot of these companies don't expect you to look at the nutrition labels. A lot of these companies don't expect you to, you know, look at the ingredients. They're gonna take into account that you're just looking at what's on the label in the front. You can't do that. You're gonna get so much more satisfaction, guys, knowing what you're putting into your body. And you're gonna be a lot more satisfied, I promise. So this is the first series to sum up here on fats, and there's a lot more we'll cover, but we're starting with this, guys. This is what I have. Hope you liked. That's it.